Greetings and welcome to episode 16 of the weekly review, at least as I'm reliably informed by Moody. A weekly video game podcast where we talk about the games that we've been playing. I'm your host, Amy Cat Alexander, and I'm joined this week by the three-star champ himself, I assume that's what the stars mean, Mr. Deffin Moody. What?
It's Monday. You know what that means,
You know what
ladies
that
and gentlemen.
means.
You know what that means. But this time it's a little different. She says it's two, but actually it's only one person who's going to review the games this week.
Maybe no one would have noticed if you understand anything. It's fine. Like I said, this is a low-pressure environment, Moody.
Low pressure.
I'm not going to be cracking the whip and being like, play some games. You need to have an opinion on the games. Like, no, I'm not that person.
Do it now. Do it. Come on, do it now. I'm here. Play something now.
Yeah, come on. What are you doing? There's a million games. Play them all. Come on. I want reviews for every single one. Now I'm just reliving past traumas. Sorry, go ahead.
The funny thing is, I've just seen a clip of Final Fantasy X, and I was just like, I could play some Final Fantasy X and review that instead.
Go for it.
Oh, I do love 10. I
made an entirely new series of videos just to fuel my urge, to fulfill my sometime need of being like, oh, I really want to play X game again. But yeah, you say it's Monday. You know what that means? It means Amy's got to stare at the book, the Sherlock notebook which says Sherlock everywhere, and it's like I don't like Sherlock. I'm just using a notebook that somebody bought me because it was that, or use my phone. And you know what? I want to use it for something. If someone's bought me it, you know,
it's understandable.
Oh, Amy's a nerd. She must like Sherlock.
He's better than Watson.
Yeah. Just pretend it's a Hobbit spin-off. After the Battle of the Five Armies, Smaug and Bilbo went off to solve crimes together.
Doesn't make a difference.
They just fucked off to solve crimes together.
They went off to do an adventure.
They were going on an adventure. It's a different kind of adventure. In London. Where's London? This is Middle Earth. Where's this analogy?
Baby? You sound like that guy from London.
oh, governor. Yeah. Cheerio, mate. Cheers, love. The cavalry's here. Keith hates that. I specifically unlocked that voice line for Tracer, because Keith hated it so much, and I just spam it all the time when we were playing Overwatch together. Cheers, love. The cavalry's here. Cheers, love. The cavalry's here. Cheers, love. The cavalry's here.
It sounds like something I would do. Wait, you don't like it?
Oh wait. This actually bothers you for some reason? Well, let me just fucking annoy the shit out of you. And now we don't play Overwatch together.
It's like me and that sprint button.
I don't know why that could be. Hey, Amy, you know Halo Infinite's got multiplayer. Why are you not playing it together? And then I just get this distant look. I'm just reliving it all. Sprint button. Lisa needs braces. Sprint button. Lisa needs braces. This is a weekly review. We should probably review some games first. We made a slight alteration to the. What we did, the podcast, the weekly review podcast is still the same. It's just we're gonna break out any of the like reviews or impressions we do of like new games into their own videos. So like I'm putting out the ones from last week's episode. They should already be up. I've uploaded them. I'm just getting it published on them. So, but then from going forward, I'll break them out and put them up on Thursdays. So you can listen to the podcast and get all the ridiculous tangents that myself and Moody go through. Or if you just want the reviews, where we probably still go on some tangents in the middle of them, you can do that as well. Because we thought, why not?
Why
Why
not?
not?
Why not? Why not?
It's like very little extra work for me. So,
That's it, and it's no work for me still,
and
so it's
it's
alright.
no work for you. Yeah, you just you just have to turn up. It's school.
Simplest job ever.
Yeah, best job ever. You
I
just
didn't
turn
say
up and
that. I just
make
said
fun of Halo.
simplest one. Best job ever would be simplest, but you're still getting paid.
Yes, yes. That this job does have the downside of we don't make any money.
No money.
Well, I
No
make a little bit
money.
of money on Twitch, but
Wait, what?
what? Oh
Amy, I
no.
think we need a conversation after
I think
this.
I've said too much. What did I do with the last one? I always buy a game with it because it's like 75 quid because it's like a payout threshold. So I get it like twice a year. Not
When
really
you hit
enough.
a certain level, and you're just like, all right, she's been paid a couple of times now. We can send it to her.
Do you want to know the ultimate tragedy?
What?
The one of them, I can't remember which one, but one Twitch payout I got. I bought a video game with it called Fallout 76.
Oh, Amy.
So all those people who subscribed and cheered and did the bits and
Automatically unsubscribed.
and they paid for me to have Fallout 76. Oh, I built a
I'm
nice
not going
house.
on my just ignore me going on my Twitch right now, okay? Just ignore what you might hear.
Oh, Rudy. You're one of my biggest fans. Don't do it. Don't do this to me. I feel like I owe everybody who like was a subscriber there like a 24-hour Fallout 76 stream. I've just been slowly losing my mind just as penance for that.
Sweet.
I feel like you did actually unsubscribe. Like I'm just gonna look
No,
it
I
up and
didn't.
I'm like, I've lost a subscriber.
I'm looking at something else. Don't you worry.
No, it's fine. Should we jump in? We got 2 games to talk about this week on the weekly
Video
review.
game. This is what people want to hear.
Because like you saying you didn't play a game, and I'm gonna be honest, Moody, I didn't. All right, that's not true. I played a lot of a video game. Like I devoted a lot of time to video games this week, but I didn't devote that much time to new video games.
Games that you want to talk about, yeah.
Like I devoted a shitload of time to a video game I'll be making a video of in the next few weeks. But new games, like I put some time in. Like it was a weird one. So like I want to start. I'm flipping the order of how I'm going to do these. Because I was going to do them in chronological order, but actually I'm going to start with... So I played Disjunction first, which is the first one. But first, the story of how I ended up playing Disjunction. So like it was Friday night. I was like, cool, I've got some time to like, not to kill necessarily, but I've got some time to play a game. A new game, and I'll talk about it on the podcast. And if you remember the podcast where we were talking about the games that were out on the week just gone, like it was like there was a gauntlet of like indie games. There was like tons of them coming out. It was like 5 or 6 indie games where I was like, that sounds interesting. So I literally on the Friday night, I sat down. I was like, cool. I want to play a game. I want to play a new game so I can talk about it. And I literally had all of the store pages open for like 4 games, I think it was. And I was just like, watch the trailer. Okay, watch this trailer. Okay, watch this trailer. Okay, watch this trailer. Okay, you know what? I'll pick this one. This one seems to be like the kind of thing that I'm into. That speaks to me from watching the trailers. I mean, I didn't read the descriptions. I didn't look any of the reviews up. I just went, cool, I want to watch these 4 trailers. Which one? Okay, Disjunction. That's the one that speaks to me the most. And what was funny was, after I'd finished playing it, I went on the Open Critic, and I noticed that it had like by far of the 4 games I was looking at the lowest Open Critic average. Like to the point where like if this was Fantasy Critic, I'd be scoring negative points. And you know what? It made me realize video game reviewers must be purged because Disjunction is really good. Like it's a really good game, and it's got like a piss fucking Open Critic average, and it's like it's a really good game. What are you talking? What are you smoking? Video game reviewers.
What's the game?
It's called Disjunction, and it is a top-down. I guess you could kind of say it's like a stealth game. It's the cyberpunk stealth game. 68, yeah. It's like, what the hell? But yeah,
That's because it's a cyberpunk. It's a cyberpunk. Cyberpunk.
everyone just saw cyberpunk and
very...
was just like, nah, mate, no cyberpunk. But no,
no,
it's
not another one. We're good.
it's a top-down stealth game. Like, you don't actually have to play it stealth. Like, the option exists to play it as an action game. A bit like Hotline Miami, I guess, in that case. What it reminded me of when I was playing the game as stealth, because the stealth is way more fun. It's way more fun than playing it as an action game. And I'll deep dive into that while we'll talk about it. But what it kind of reminded me a bit of Metal Gear Solid, like the first Metal Gear Solid, the PlayStation 1 one, just from a like slightly different perspective. But like, I had a lot of fun with this game. Like, I want to go back and play some more of it. And you know me, Moody, I suck at stealth games. Like, my approach to stealth is, if I kill everyone, then no one can see me.
That is true.
Yeah,
that is true.
If I just open fire with a machine gun and kill everybody, like, and it's still classes as stealth, right? But this is a really cool game, and I've got notes because I would have totally forgotten what I wanted to talk about otherwise. That's how my brain works.
What are the notes?
So yeah, like the stealth gameplay is easily the strongest part of the game experience. Basically, it's like the vast majority of what you're doing is you're just basically trying to sneak through a level past all of the guards. The guards will have like the sight cone things, which people who are watching the video on YouTube can see. And it's basically just about managing those sight lines. So like figuring out like maybe there's a stationary guard and then there's two patrolling guards, and you've just got to figure out the timing to be able to sneak behind one and sneak attack them and knock them out, and then you can drag their unconscious form away. And just be like, but it's really satisfying. Like,
oh, that's good.
You'll end up repeating stuff a lot, like, and we'll get to the checkpointing system in a bit because I need to talk about that. But like, it's just really fun to like figure out like how to sneak past each individual section, and like when you figure it out. And especially if you figure it out like first time, so like each room in a building essentially feels like its own mini puzzle, and if you figure it out first time, like it feels great. Like you're just like, I'm brilliant at this, and then you go into the next room and a robot goes, there you are, and it fucking destroys you, and you're like, well, baby, I'm not so good at this. Yeah. But like it's got some really interesting mechanics to go along with it, like the way it uses shadow. Because it's a pixel art top-down game. You would think, well, can't use shadow that well, right? Essentially, you've got so like rooms are lit, and then like you'll be able to hide behind stuff like pillars, for example, or like tables, lockers, whatever, to break sight lines. But you also have like two, I guess, layers of darkness almost. So like if you're hugging a wall, like that wall will have a shadow over it. And when you're doing that, like when you're in darkness, like the way the game sort of translates that you're more hidden is like all of the cones, all of the sight lines will shrink. So like if say for example a guard is looking across a corridor at a wall and his cone covers the whole thing, it'd be like, oh shit, I can't get past him. But maybe if you hug the wall and stay in the shadow, like the cone will shrink just enough so you can get past. Like that kind of thing. And it's really, really fascinating. And I think the game did tell me that was a thing at the beginning, but I forgot because because I have this very vivid memory of only realizing this was a thing in like the second or third level and being like, oh my god, this is amazing. This is a thing. Wow. And it's like it all combines to make like a really, really satisfying stealth game that I enjoy playing. And I don't usually enjoy playing stealth games.
Yeah, you don't.
So, like,
do you think it's come out in a vacuum, knowing that Hitman was last week?
Yeah, that's a
I
weird
know,
one.
I know
Yeah.
it's two different games, completely two different games, because I'm seeing it now on a trail. I've got it up on my end,
Yeah, like
and they are completely different. But
it's very
because
different
it,
approaches. Yeah.
yeah, because it's a stealth game, Hitman has took the glory for that, basically. And it
Oh
could have
god.
been, it could have been, it could have been a bit
Yeah.
of that.
Maybe. Like, I mean, we talked about Hitman in last week's episode, and I said similar things where it's like I'm bad at stealth games, but I love Hitman because it's like social stuff as opposed to necessarily just like traditional sneaky around
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
the levels. I mean, you do some of that in Hitman, but not usually for long. Because usually disguise yourself, and this is kind of similar where it's like it's maybe I just don't like third person stealth games. Like I have really bad judgment of like when I'm being seen and when I'm not being seen, and Disjunction, like Hitman solves that problem by like, oh, just dress up as a waiter or dress up as a pizza delivery guy. And
Yeah.
Disjunction solves that problem by just saying, yo, you could see exactly where everyone can see, so it's fine. Like you can never have to worry about being in someone's sightlines like by accident.
Yeah.
So maybe that's it. Yeah. I'm just trying to read these ridiculous notes. See, I wrote them in fancy pen, but the pen ink is a little bit reflective, and there's a light above me, so I haven't thought this through.
So how's the mechanics feel?
Yeah, the mechanics feel really good. Like if you've played a any top down game before, it's like it controls exactly like that, right? There's the pure stealth approach, which is you just sneak around these people's robots, whatever sightlines, and you get behind them and you attack them. You also get special abilities and equipment. And there's 3 different characters as well, so they all get. I want to say they all get different equipment. It's kind of 50-50 where it's kind of the same equipment. It just does different things. So like one of the things the characters have, like the first character you play as has a smoke grenade, so you can throw a smoke grenade and it will obscure everybody's vision, so you can just move around freely in the smoke and just beat people up. It's great.
That's Frank. It looks like it.
Yeah, and then but the other 2 characters that you play as also have grenades. Like they're just different types of grenades. Like the second character has a force grenade, which just damage in an area, and then the third character has a stun grenade, which stuns people.
Yeah, second character looks like it's a guy called Joe. With a bionic arm.
Yeah, there's the boxer guy with the bionic arm. His intro's fantastic. Like he's like doing a boxing match and the guy does the intro, like, it's like and in this corner, blah blah blah. And it's like, okay, fight, and then the boxer guy, who's the character, just runs across. He's got bionic legs as well. He just runs across the arena and just kicks him in the nuts, and the fight's over.
It's one way to win.
But yeah, it's like they've all got their different equipment. It's different enough in that like playing as them feels different. Like playing as each character feels slightly different. For example, the boxer guy has the charge, so you can like charge across a level. Well, you charge across part of a level and when you hit an enemy, you'll stun them. Which is more sort of a direct thing, whereas the first character you play as has like a stun gun type thing, where you can like shoot a stun from across the room and it'll stun someone. You can then get up to them and attack them. There are lethal options available in the game as well. So like every character has a gun.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, as well. Which, like, I haven't finished the game, but there is a lot of sort of like there's a very solid sense that the decisions that you're making about necessarily killing versus non-lethal damage is actually having some impact on the story. Characters who you talk to bring it up. Like for example, there's a character who's talking to the first character, and every time they're telling them to do a job, it's like we don't need any heat, don't kill anyone. And then when you finish the mission, if you don't kill anyone, the character's like, yeah, you didn't kill anyone, good job. So there's definitely a sense that something's going on in terms of that. But what I thought was fascinating was like, like the first character is like an ex-cop private detective character, and it was like I was kind of, I don't know, maybe role playing a little bit, which is very strange because like as you can tell, I can't remember the names of the characters. I don't really remember the story all that much. Like, I wasn't really all that interested in what I was reading and in terms of the story. But also, like, in the gameplay, I was because like I did no kills as the private detective character, but as the boxer guy, like he's a bigger guy. He's kind of maybe built a little bit more for sort of direct confrontation. And his intro, his story is he's trying to figure out why his daughter died. And there's a moment at the end of one level where you can choose, like you confront, like, as the private detective, you're just gathering clues. So at the end of every level, you just pick some clue up and then you're off, and then you go at the next one and then you do the same. And at the end of the boxer guy levels, like, there's a guy you're trying to get to a person,
Yeah.
and you have the option to kill that person or not. And I think I took that option in one of them, but it was like, yeah, I was much more comfortable, like, just fucking straight up murdering dudes. And this is boxer guy with his shotgun, like, if I got spotted and two guys were coming at me, I'd just fucking blow them away, and I'd be like, yeah, all right, that's fine. Whereas with the private detective guy, I was like, proper stealth, like, stealthy. But the equipment does feel quite good. Like, normally in a game like this, I will forget to use it. And in this, it's like, it's not necessary. Like, you can totally do all the levels without using any of the gadgets or special abilities. But I don't know, I was using it because I was having fun using it. Like, oh, I can stun this guy. And then sneak up on him and then go, whap, 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 whap. And then
It gave you enough variety to make you feel like, well, all three were different.
Yeah.
Well, that's good to know.
Yeah, it really did feel... It was a weird one where it's like, it feels like you can tell, like, they're all very similar, right? Like, each character has a grenade, it just does a different thing, but also different enough that it felt like the playstyles were slightly different, even though you're essentially doing the same thing. You're just sneaking around.
Yeah.
Very samey looking levels, it has to be said.
It does look, yeah, from the trailer, all the levels do look very samey, so.
Oh, I forgot. I left a death in the in the footage. Damn, I was trying to edit around them, so I looked smart, but I didn't.
No, Amy.
Yeah, that is one thing that this game might have against it the further in I go, because I started feeling it where it's like it does start to feel a little bit repetitive. Because like the color palette will sometimes change between levels. Like the level that you're currently looking at on YouTube is a bit grey, and then some of the other levels are a bit brown. Like, you know what I mean? But it does kind of feel like you are just sneaking through the same building over and over again. Like, they do a lot of cool things with sort of like introducing new enemies, to try and keep things fresh. So like, people will have vision in front of them, right? And that's how the guards work. But later on, you might get like, there's a stationary turret camera thing which spins. So like, its sightline is always rotating, and if it spots you, it transforms into like this fucking massive laser turret that'll just fucking destroy you in one hit. And there'll be like different robot types which have got like vision cones coming out in 4 directions. So you've got to try and like stay diagonal with them, stuff like that, which is kind of neat. But I'm conflicted about how the checkpoints work in this game.
What do you mean?
So every level, right? Essentially, you're just trying to get from the beginning to the end. And some levels will have upgrade kits, which you can, if you pick them up, you get extra XP and you can upgrade your abilities. Your gear, sorry. So and it just makes it slightly more powerful. Like, the RPG mechanics feel a little bit superfluous.
Yeah.
There's no like, there doesn't feel like there's any really cool sort of progression to the game. It's literally just like, now my attack will go off a little bit faster, or this stunning gun will actually freeze time so I can aim it properly and actually use it.
Yeah.
But the way the checkpoint work is, somewhere in every single level, there is a checkpoint. And it's this square, you'll have seen it in the footage, it's this square plate type thing. And when you want to activate it, you could stand on it, and that activates the checkpoint, and that's your checkpoint. But you can only stand on it once. so you can only use it once.
So that's why I'm seeing people on the trailer. Sorry for putting in there.
Yeah.
That they're avoiding it.
Yes, because I get what they're going for, and honestly, it does make a lot of sense. And sometimes it can be really cool. You've got to figure out when you want to put a checkpoint down, right? So it even just the simple art of saving the game becomes like this strategic element. You've got to think about it. So like, yeah, you sometimes you find it and you're like, I've done fuck all yet in this level. I'm going to avoid this. The downside being if you die, you go all the way back to the beginning, and that's kind of the problem because you don't really have visibility on what you're about to face, like going forward. So like, while I can see the strategic option, and sometimes it is really cool. Like sometimes I have set a checkpoint at just the right time. Other times I've done it too early, and I'm like, shit. Now I've got to get through all of this stuff. Like there's a level where you have to basically go to 4 different places. So like to get like different key cards to do different things, to unlock different stuff, to pick up upgrade kits. And I didn't realize I was going to that many places. Like for everything leading up to that, there was a door. You find a key card, you unlock the door with the key card. But in this level, if there was 2, you needed 2 key cards, and I didn't know that. So I picked up a key card and went, cool, I've picked up the key card and unlocked the door, I'll save now. And then I still had to go and get another key card and get an upgrade kit. And you know what I mean? It was like that was a level where I was like, I'm dying a lot and I'm losing so much progress, and it's starting to get on my nerves.
That's a bit irritating, there's no doubt about that.
So like there were times when it was great and there were times when it wasn't, and I felt really conflicted by like how it works. And it was a weird feeling where I was like, if you said, so is the checkpointing good or is the checkpointing bad? My answer would be, yeah.
Mixed. Very mixed.
Yeah, both.
Yeah.
And there were times when I'd ignore the checkpoint and then realize I'd finished the fucking level and be like, I just put myself through all this for nothing. Like I could have checkpointed halfway through.
But those are the best ones.
Yeah, oops. I spent 20 minutes dying to this one bit and I could have checkpointed right before it.
Mm-hmm.
Go on. Yeah, go
on. I'm watching it right now. I've just been re-looping the trailer over and over, and it does have some interesting looks. Like you say, it's a very pixel art-ish. I like pixel art.
I like pixel art too.
Games sometimes. Like I say, it's a quirky look. But all the levels look very samey, which is very disappointing. It's good to see that what you said, that all characters do feel different and everything. Even though all 3 characters from the game do all look like they walk and attack in the same way from the trailer I'm looking at anyway. I'm only going off that.
Yeah, no, you'd be
just just how they look and everything. I mean,
you're right. That is how it feels.
Yeah. So
like it's the abilities that make them sort of different.
Disjunction comes across very disjointed for me. From what you've told me and from the trailer I'm watching right now.
How long were you waiting to use that one?
I won't lie.
Good 10 minutes?
About 20 seconds.
Just like, shut up, Amy. I've got to just shut up, Amy. I need to say my thing.
I've got perfect thing here. Right here. I've got it right here.
Got it right here.
No, yeah, but no, the pun was not intended. I won't lie there. But no, it looks like it's aiming for a certain audience, and it's not, and that's who they've aimed it for. And they've aimed it for the people who only like to save once a level, if not even save at all. So
yeah, permadeath. Wait, what?
Basically, yeah.
No, it's like like it's a fun enough game. Like, for what it is. And I have a good time with it. Like, just figuring out the levels is where I'm enjoying it. Like, I'm not too enraptured with the story. Cyberpunk future, dystopia, corporations are bad. The cops are out to get us. Global warming happened, and they fixed it by building a giant wall to hold the ocean back. So I was like, yeah, all right, that works, I guess.
More initiative than our governments are having right now, so it's all right.
I mean, that's a better wall to build, let's be fair. Than the one that everybody's been talking about for the last 4 years. But whoa, politics. It's a cyberpunk game. Politics are always going to come up. But unless you see
But
the Project
politics aren't
Red.
in games.
No, sorry. Yeah, politics are only in bad games, right?
It's a lot of bad games. That's why I never played Disco Elysium.
I just realized what t-shirt I was wearing when I said that. I was like, ooh.
What?
they thanked Marx in their speech at the Game Awards.
Correct.
Yeah, it's a fun game. Like, I think you should check it out if you're inclined to play a game that feels a bit like PS1 Metal Gear Solid.
It looks slow.
Yeah, you have to play it. Like, it's that kind of stealth game where it's like you have to play slow. Like, you can't see enemies' sightlines if you're running.
I don't have the patience.
So you'll be crouched a lot just so you can see where enemies are looking.
Yeah. This is a game probably not for me just because I'm not a patient person.
That's fair
at all. So I might give it a go if it comes around. If I remember it.
Like, it's in Game Pass. I'll check it out. Like that kind of thing. Yeah,
something like that. I've had it. If it's top it in Game Pass, I can see myself giving it a go probably then. But until then,
no, it's cool. It's that kind of game. I think like it was nice. Honestly, Moody, it was just nice to for the first time in what feels like fucking months to be able to sit down and think, I'm going to play a game for the podcast to review it, and just have options and be able to just pick whichever option I felt like playing in that particular moment. It was great.
Oh, that's good.
Shotgunned a bunch of guys on the screen when we're talking about a stealth game, but yeah, it's made by three brothers in New York. So like, respect. For that.
Smaller the team, I always give them that little extra respect because.
But it's better than the Open Critic average. So, just video game reviewers should be purged.
You're a reviewer, right? So that means you have to be purged.
I'm the exception that proves the rule.
Oh God, we're going down the wrong direction. What's your second and final game that you have got to play this week, Jamie?
You've set it up too quick. I need to change the video over.
Well, I'm sorry. I'm just too good at this, Jamie. What is the game called so I can get it?
It's called Cyber Shadow. It was my pick of the week on the podcast.
Ooh, yes.
A couple of weeks ago.
That is actually on Game Pass.
That is actually on Game Pass. Funny enough, Moody, that's why I decided to sit down and play it. Because I could. I added it to my list, my Game Pass list thingy before it came out, and then it was like Cyber Shadow's out on my phone, and I was like, okay, I'll download Cyber Shadow.
Oh, I do like the developer.
Who's the developer?
They made a good game called Shovel Knight. So
the published. It's developed by someone else, but the Yacht Club games published.
What? I give them praise when it's not them. Fuck you, son. Fuck you.
They published it. They published it. Annapurna Interactive publish millions of fucking awesome games every year. Yacht Club Games is getting in on it now.
Why not? I better get this set up to download. So on my end and the medium.
Yeah. I'll just play nothing next week, and you can just have the episode talk about you. No, it's actually Destruction All Stars is coming out. What am I talking about? That's Hitman.
About, Amy? That's not next. That's this. We're on this week though, not next week.
I know. I literally turned back too far. I was just about to start looking at my notes for Hitman again. No, I played Cyber Shadow, and Cyber Shadow is a fun platformer. Hey kids, have you ever played an NES game? Did you enjoy it?
Those kids are our age, Jamie.
Did you enjoy it? Then Cyber Shadow's for you. It's very, very they talk about it being inspired by NES classic platformers, and it's apart from the fact that it's obviously in full HD and the cutscenes look too good to ever run on NES, and some of the animations are too good to run on NES. the game itself, like you could literally like if you had put this game in front of me and said this game is a re-release of a 1990 NES platformer, I would have believed you. Like, and that's not a dig at the game. Like,
Yeah.
it's just like if you want the shorthand of how this game feels to play, like that. Like, it's very much that experience. It's incredibly tight and responsive. Like, the main thing you're doing is platforming and attacking enemies and figuring out like how to not die, because dying is very easy in this game. Your health is very cheap. But it's like it's so satisfying, like, to play it. Like, there's whenever I died, I never really felt like the controls fucked me over, right? Like, you know, sometimes when you're playing like a 2D platformer, like sometimes it's like sometimes you feel like the controls aren't responding fast enough to the inputs that you're giving them. That's not a thing in Cyber Shadow. Like that, it's literally my first note because it literally that's the first thing that jumped out at me was like how satisfying this is to play.
Oh, that's good. I said, it looks beautiful. I like this style art.
The art style is incredible. The music, the soundtrack is going. If it's on Spotify, it's going on my video game music rotation list. Which, by the way, shout out to Spotify for following up Stardew Valley today with Doom.
Oh, good God.
I was having a very, very up and down day today with music. But yeah, like it looks superb. Like, it looks how you remember NES games looking is the way I always describe these types of games, where it's just like, this is what your nostalgia makes NES games, makes you think NES games look like. And I love beautiful pixel art. Always have, always will.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, that one looks really nice. They went into Neo, where he was blue, very neonish.
All right. I only played a couple hours of it.
I'm only going off the trailer, so
we'll get to that in a moment as well.
Spoilers, sorry.
But yeah, it's like it's essentially a mix of platforming and action. So, like, there'll be moments where you are just trying to solve a platforming puzzle, like trying to figure out how do I get from this point to this point without getting crushed by a cube, for example, or like how do I just get up here. There was a really cool, I want to say like a side room type thing that I found at one point, where it was like at the top there was a power up, I think, for my health or something. Like it gave me some sort of boost, and it was just a pure puzzle platform where it was like you have to figure out how to get to the top of this room. And I really enjoyed that kind of thing. Then there's the action where there's also tons of enemies trying to kill you, and they all move and attack in very different ways, and you have to sort of figure out how not to get killed. Because again, this isn't NES hard. Like, this isn't like a super difficult platforming game that you're gonna fucking want to just rage quit. But it's not necessarily too easy either. Like you'd have to be paying attention to what's happening, and there are certain enemies that I feel like maybe are a bit too aggravating, in terms of the way they attack. There's one very specific enemy which is like there's these big bugs, like normal like big bugs. And you hit them once and they fall to the ground and they walk around, and then you have to hit them again to actually kill them. Sometimes they're carrying these egg sacs, and sometimes you can just find these egg sacs in levels, and if you burst them, 2 teeny little ones will come out. And they fly around in circles. Like they'll fly around in circles and completely ignore the terrain of a level. So like they can come at you from all sorts of different directions, and because they're so small, they can be really hard to sometimes see them. 2, hit them, because you have to time it quite well, based on their arc and where they're going to be and when you're actually going to get pixel to pixel contact. And there's I don't even necessarily think it's a boss fight, but there's like an auto-scroller section in the second level, which has just destroyed me as a human being, in terms of, because it's based around there are lasers and there are tons of these bugs and there are platforms with spikes and the level's moving up and you've got to avoid the platforms with spikes and the lasers are firing at you and you've got to avoid them, but also the lasers are firing, so they're bursting all of these bug sacks, and now there's bugs flying around in circles everywhere, and I was like, this is one too many things. Like, I need there to be one less of these things. And that was where I kind of stopped. stopped playing because I was like, nah, I'm good, thanks. Like the boss fight that's on the screen right now, if you're watching it on YouTube, did it first time, figured it out, super satisfied, super awesome, super fun. That auto scroller, I've got like 40 minutes of footage of me failing at it. And I was just like, no, I'm good, thanks. So yeah, it's like, oh, there's one bit of the game where it's like I've stopped playing and I want to play more, but also I don't want to play more of that, if that makes sense. Like, but so it's again, it's a really satisfying platformer.
You feel like you've had your fill?
I feel like I've had my fill, yeah. I feel like if someone could come to my house and get me past that bit and then I could keep playing, I would keep playing. But that one specific thing has made me sort of go, I don't want to smash my face against this for however long it's going to take to get past it. And that's honestly what it feels like. Like,
Yeah.
I'd figured out the timing so well of the first part of the level because I've done it that many times. Like, I was throwing shuriken at the lasers to break them, to stop them from firing. But then and I was figuring out where the platforms were and when I needed to move to get out of the way of the platforms that will kill you because things moving towards them and there's spikes on the bottom of them. And then oh, one of these teeny little bugs that I didn't see coming will hit me, and it's got knocked back, and it knocked me back into the spikes in the platform and killed me instantly. And I was just like, I can't do this anymore. Yeah. Like, it's just one too many things. But everything leading up to that was great, and I'm sure there's tons of stuff after that that's great too. And
Yeah.
maybe it's that kind of thing where if I sit down and actually play it, I'll do it like in one go. Like, when sometimes you just have to walk away from a game that you stuck on, and then you come back to it and you beat it first time because you're not gripping the controller so tight.
It's reviewing very well. It's on an 82 for Open Critics, so overall it's very well received. 84% critics recommend the game. So, like, yeah, it's a very well received game. 8 out of 10 by Easy Allies. Gaming for
there are other video game critics. We already discussed our feelings on those guys before. But yeah, it's like like I say, everything leading up to that, it's just one thing has taken me out of the game, and I feel like I focused on it too much because everything leading up to that was superb. Like the levels were superb. The enemy variety, like, was great, but not overwhelming. It was like I feel like it introduced new enemies like exactly when it needed to, and not before.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like if it had done it any quicker, and it would have been overwhelming. If it did it any slower, it would have felt repetitive. It was always perfect. You come across something, you'd be like, "Oh shit, what's that?" And then it would do something completely unexpected that you've never seen before, like launch bombs and an arc at you, and you'd be like, "Oh, what do I do?" But then you'd figure it out, and then you'd kill it, and you get past it, and you go on to the next bit, and it's like, that's great. Like, there's these guys you would have just seen one very briefly on the screen, and it's like they're super tough to kill, and they shoot bolts at you, but they go down in one hit if you can get behind them because you hit this big backpack that's on their back, and it's like, okay, cool. Like, that's a legitimate cool strategy. It's like, okay, I've got to figure out, just wait for him to turn around, figure it out, or jump over him, boom. And it's like, there's so much cool stuff like that. Like, there's side rooms with mini bosses. There's the room I was talking about with the puzzle platforming. Like, the bosses themselves are really cool.
Yeah.
When you actually come across them, like, in that sort of very old school video gaming way, where it's like, you just, essentially, to beat a boss, you just have to figure out what the pattern is. Like, when you need to jump over something, an attack, or like okay, now he's stunned, I can attack him. Or, what happens if what happens if I go behind him? And then he turns his jetpacks on, kills you. It's like, that's what happens. Okay. I was trying to be too clever and you caught me out, Cyber Shadow. Thanks for that. Yeah, it's like, even just getting through the levels, like, there's a death on the screen. I was really bad at editing around my desk, apparently. It's like there's a moment in the second level where it's like there's a massive laser firing that will one-shot you, but it also kills enemies.
Yeah.
So it's figuring out how to get through the level and maybe using the laser to your advantage, and that feels great too.
Yeah.
Like, there's so much to recommend in this game.
But right now, to what I can tell from what you're saying about it, it's like this is a very good game. You're really enjoying it. But for you right now, you probably need to walk away from it for a bit.
Yeah,
It seems like it.
pretty much.
And that's not a discredit against it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I say, we all have different feelings and different how we're feeling the game at a time. And she's given it a very high praise still. The game mechanics and everything is still very well done. It's visually beautiful. The soundtrack, going off what she says, it sounds like it's really canny. Should all give this game at least a good chance. It's in Game Pass. Come on. Like I say, we've said many times that's the best thing in gaming right now. Even though Microsoft tried to put their gold price up.
Like, Mooney, in Cyber Shadow, you play as a robot fucking ninja.
That sounds like Ghost Runner. Ghost Runner.
Yeah, but I never played Ghost Runner. That is a game I know I didn't want to play. Not because I thought it was bad, because I was like, I watched the gameplay of it and I was like, nope, that is not an Amy game.
Some reason I think it is though. I don't know why.
It might be, you know what? But it's just like, I don't know. I look at the gameplay and I'm just like, I don't know if I want to play that.
Stream.
Oh,
there we go. Charity stream.
You only got one. Use it wisely. But yeah, it's like I know, like I was being critical of that one part, and it's like that is a me thing, right? That's a personal preference. I personally do not like this section of the game, and unfortunately, it's a tough section to get past. But everything else I played was superb. Like, it's a really, really, really good game.
Very good.
I genuinely believe that.
Fabulous.
Play it. It's in Game Pass, like Mooney says. Go play it and enjoy it. And when you get past the bit with all the stuff I mentioned, record it and send it to me. So then I can follow your things step by step and do it. And then I can enjoy the rest of the game.
Well, you could just do that right now on YouTube.
No, I know, but there's one thing watching and then there's another thing replicating, right? It's like, I watched them do the thing, but I couldn't replicate the thing because my hands are weak and my thumbs are frail. And I don't have the reaction speed I used to have. The book is closed on this week's games.
The book is closed, so that tells us, ladies and gentlemen, we are done and dusted.
Yeah, we're done.
Disjunction and Cyber Shadow, 2 games, both very cyberish.
Yes, they're both cyber in some way or another. Yeah, I was reading that actually. Oh well, you know do. Yeah, we'll be back on Friday with our news and culture podcast. We'll be back next week with a review show. At least now I'll be playing Destruction All Stars because I'm actually really happy that game got delayed because it was meant to be a launch game. And if it had been a launch game, I never would have played it because, like, I mean, Spider-Man, Astro, Sackboy, Demon Souls, and then all the games on all the other platforms. It's like, I never would have gotten around to it. But it's got...
You forget the game of the year of last year, Amy. Bugsnax.
I mean, I was playing Hades over and over again as well. Oh yeah, Bugsnax. Yeah, I did forget about that actually. But yeah, it's like now it's coming out with Room to Breathe. It's like cool. It's on PS Plus, so it's gonna have players. Great, because you know what? I saw it at the PS5 showcase when they revealed it, and I was like, that does look interesting. You know what they say about games that look interesting? Sometimes you can play them and you can be really surprised, and they can be brilliant.
They could. They could indeed.
And you'll know if I've enjoyed it, because if it's the only game I bring to talk about next week. Guess it's all I played. Yeah.
Let's get out of here.
Let's get out of here. I don't have anything else to say.
Bye, everybody.
Toodles. Why are we saluting?